Hola amigos, buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? How are you all today? Are we going to war with Mexico? Or are we at war with Mexico? That's what I want to talk about. Before we get there, I want to remind you of our sponsor, the Stonemont series, the complete collection of, well, they call it the best, the absolute best post-apocalyptic preparedness and survival series out there, and I won't argue with them on that. People have been learning from these since 2017, and people have said they read them over and over and over again and find things their second, third, fourth, even fifth time reading through them, and they learn things that they didn't see the time before. It's the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and the newest one, On Wings Like Eagles. Uh, these are available through Amazon. The link is down below, or they're available through the Stonemont website, stonemont.us. That link is also down below. If you haven't read these need to be the very next thing you do in your preparedness plan. Okay, uh, you will love them. They are novels, a series of novels, a lot of lessons, all more lessons than you can think of to ask about, all wrapped up in a story that will make you forget your learning. Okay, all right. Again, those are available. If you haven't read them, you need to. Uh, are we at war with Mexico? Are we going to war with Mexico? We have sent our special forces down into Mexico. There have been people down in Mexico for a long time. Okay, there's been CIA, there's been DEA, there's been FBI, there have been all sorts of people. There was ATF when they ran their guns down there, but all sorts of people in Mexico from us for a long, long time. But now we were doing it above board and letting everybody know by sending our special forces into Mexico, and now the CIA is flying predator drones over Mexico, looking for, they say, fentanyl labs. And now, do I doubt that? No, I don't doubt that a bit. Uh, they're looking for the chemical signatures in the air that are emitted from the manufacture of fentanyl. After they receive the elements from China, the precursors, and then they're making their fentanyl to send up here and kill all of our citizens. And it gives off a chemical signature that these predator drones are sniffing out. Now, why are they doing it? I watched a video, and I was very disappointed in the video, to be honest. It was most of the information in the video, it seemed to me, uh, it seemed that and I don't even remember what channel it was on, uh, that the moderator or the interviewer, the news person, was trying to play it straight. But they had a guest on there who they said was a former Blackhawk or Apache, Blackhawk, I think, pilot, and and he said, well, I don't much like this because it means that if we are sending these over into another country, it's we are violating uh, their airspace and going against our Constitution. Well, not if we are invited in there. Okay, so I don't know why they had that moron on, but let's look at the realities of the situation for a moment. Okay. If they're sending predators down there, uh, they did it with the permission of the Mexican government. Now, by permission, I'm sure that President Trump didn't call Scheinbaum on the phone and say, uh, could we please send some predators down there to look around and see if there's any bad things going on? No, he didn't do that. He called her and said, well, we have a problem, and we need to figure it out, and you all aren't able to, and so we're sending our help down there, and we're going to help you out by flying predators around to find these fentanyl labs, and you know what she said? She said, "Oh, okay, all right." So a second part of this is that this newscaster said that um, Trump was getting ready to declare cartels foreign terrorist organizations. Okay? But only 6. That's the word. Okay, now realize that when you hear things, and you all realize this, you're smart. When you hear things on the news, it's not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? A little bit here and a little bit there, and the news only gets what the powers that be want them to get or want them to put out there. So there are reasons for this. Trump plays chess, where everybody else is stuck playing checkers with half their pieces gone. So what's happening is they are flying these around. They are going to find. They're looking for, of course, the money sources for the cartels. But they're also going to see, and it turns out in this particular case, now we've done a lot of operations in Mexico with the cooperation of the Mexican authorities. Now, when you are cooperating with Mexican authorities, you've already tied one hand behind your back and put a gun to your own head because of the corruption. Okay, so you can be assured that everything that you're doing down there is known, is being shared by the very people with whom you're working. Are you all familiar with Kiki Camarines? He was a former DEA agent who was given up by, I don't know how much I should get into this. I don't know if I should get into it at all. Look him up. Kiki Camarines. I forget his first name. Anyway. So when you're dealing with the with the Mexican authorities, you're essentially, you need to understand that you are using them to send information to the opposition, right? To the bad guys, because they're wrapped up in it. And some are because they want to, because they're simply corrupt, and others are because they have been extorted. They have been blackmailed into doing it. I mean, there's this is a huge ball of greasy twine, mixed up with good threads and bad threads until you can't tell which threads are which. Simple. I mean, it's messy. But they're doing this essentially with our SF guys are going down there. Essentially, they say to train. I'm sure there's going to be some non-training situation going on that they're probably not going to let the Mexican authorities know anything about. But the drones are being done without cooperation with the Mexican authorities. That means that we are using that to pressure them. Okay, we're using the leverage. We're going to find the information, and what we're going to find is when our drones pick up evidence of fentanyl labs, then we are going to, let me just tell you how it's done. We're going to let the Mexican authorities know about some of them. Not all of them, okay? Some of them. And then we're going to sit back and we're going to wait and we're going to watch and see what the Mexican authorities do about it. Okay? And that's going to give us a lot of information, and that's going to help us identify who's dirty and who's not. Make sense? Okay. So this is kind of this is a clandestine operation inside a covert operation inside an overt operation. See what I mean? So they're going to do that, and they're going to develop information, and for us to have a better understanding of really the tendrils of the corruption and the depth of the corruption within certain Mexican enforcement authorities. Now, the next thing is that, excuse me just a second, somebody's calling. Okay, now the next thing, the interesting thing is that if Trump only declares 6 cartels, and there's many more than that. Well, somebody's calling me on the other phone. I got too many phones laying around here. I keep some on silent and some not. If he only dictates 6 as foreign terrorist organizations, he is purposely leaving out many more. Okay. Now, I would imagine there's a reason for that. My reasoning for that would be to use those 6 as an example. If you just declare all cartels as the enemy, you're essentially going to have to fight all the cartels. You're going to bring them together in a one cohesive opponent. See? But you declare some of them, and it will be interesting to see which ones he designates as terrorist organizations. You designate some of them, and the others are going to go, oh, wow, okay, good. We escaped the list. Maybe we shouldn't cooperate with those ones on the list as much as we have been. As long as we're not on the list yet, and especially when we start taking action against those that are on the list. If he does it right, Trump will certainly do it. Well, you can always question, are they going to do it right? We can hope. And by right, I mean to the greatest degree they can, the degree that it needs to be effective. Okay, and I know that Biden wouldn't, but hopefully Trump will. So when we start taking action against those cartels that we have designated as foreign terrorist organizations, the others are going to see it. And if our hammer is big enough and squash them enough, and we really raise hell and create havoc among the ones we have declared as terrorist organizations, the others are going to want to keep their distance from those organizations. That's going to disrupt. Even though, the cartels down there, they fight against each other a lot, but in other areas they have a cooperative, arrangement. But this is going to put a big divide between them, so that the ones who aren't on the list are going to stop helping those who are on the list, and they may even start supplying information to the U.S. government about the ones who are under the gun as a way for them. It's just like snitches, right? Saying, oh, I'll come give you information. I'll be your friend. Just don't come after me, right? Okay, that's what's going to happen. That's also going to develop more information, and then you wouldn't have to fight all of them. I mean, for the most part, you'll hammer the 6. The rest of them are going to start kind of fading away, trying to stay under the radar, which means they're not as active as they are right now because they think that they are acting with impunity. Right? And then you start to weaken the whole thing. You start pulling threads out of the fabric, little by little by little by little, until finally that piece of fabric is in tatters. And then the ones that weren't on the list, you know what they're going to be doing? They're not just going to be giving you information about their competitors. They're going to be giving you information about the corruption, the corrupt officials they deal with in the government. Wood Rush used to say, don't doubt me on this. That's what's going to happen. So, are we going to war with Mexico? No, we're not going to war with Mexico. We are going to war in Mexico, and who we're going to war with depends on who has decided they're going to go to war with us. Very simple. Very simple. So that's what's going on. Hey, expect the price of avocados to go up. I love avocados, and I love guacamole. I mean, I could eat nothing but steak and guacamole for the rest of my life, right? So I love that stuff. And you all know I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I love everything. For the most part, I don't like the corruption and the cartels, but I mean, Mexico's a beautiful country, and we don't want to destroy it, and we don't want to go to war with it. We want to carve out the cancer that has been eating that country alive forever. And hopefully we will be able to do it. I do want to give one, I want to give something. I just remembered, I meant to say this at the beginning of the video, but I want to say a word to the people who come on, and probably very well meaning, when I'm talking about preparedness, and they will add a Bible verse, a scripture, or when I'm trying, for instance, I made the one yesterday about why thousands of preppers will die. And it was about, they don't take it seriously. They really don't. Most preppers do not, or those who consider themselves preppers, not PMPs or preparedness-minded people, those who have made it a part of their life, they don't take it seriously, and they're not going to be ready for when something really bad happens, like what happens in here, right? Did I say that this is a wonderful series? It's a story of a family who, after the collapse of everything, and as a result of their own preparedness, is able to continue living a great life, but also helping other people and rebuilding community and communities in a post-apocalyptic world. Is a great read. But when most people haven't taken it to that extent. And so very often when I make these videos about, those things, people will come on and say, no matter how much you prepare, if you don't have Jesus, or all that's necessary is that you have Jesus. Well, okay, the first is right. Yes, no matter how much you prepare, if you don't have Jesus, I'm a believer. And if you've been on my church channel, you should understand that. But it's inappropriate. Let me put it this way: it hurts your case when you come on and throw those things in. I know that you may be trying to help, or maybe you think that it's your calling to come on and share the good news, share the gospel, okay, with people. But it really is off-putting to a lot of people, and so I want to help you. I want to tell you how to do this a little bit better. I don't pull off the comments because I think that these people are well-meaning. I think some of them are virtue signaling, and that's very wrong. To use God or Jesus as a way to show that you're so virtuous, that's prideful, and that's a sin, guys. You need to stop that, okay? But Jesus himself told us to prepare here, okay? I want you to understand that. He said, prepare here. Now, we need it. Now, if we don't have him, everything that we prepare for is for naught, because it is our eternal life that is the most important, certainly. But he said, prepared here. And so let me give you all who want to throw in these Bible verses a little advice on how to do it better. All right? Okay. Because when I see those comments, I always go and see that person's channel. Okay? I see, okay, what are they putting up on their channel? And very often these comments, they're not made in a cooperative or helpful. They're more like a dig or a jab. And that's very wrong, because, honey and vinegar, right? Are you really trying to help people, or are you just trying to show how good you are? So I go to their channel, and you know what I find on their channel? Do I find them trying to, spread the word of Jesus? No. You know what I find? I find nothing, which shows me that, guys, you're just using other people's channels to throw out these barbs. Now, you may not think that they're barbs, but let me tell you, that's the way that they look to many people, and it's off-putting. So if you really, really believe in the message that you are trying to get out there, I would suggest that you try to do it in a way that's a little more, that it seems more helpful. Okay? For instance, yes, it's great we try to prepare. Everybody should try to prepare. And don't forget that the most important thing, and I'm saying this right now, the most important thing is to be right with the good Lord through Jesus Christ. You see, that's it. So it's not serving your purpose if you just come on and try to, do something in kind of a way. And for those who are actually trying to do that, I'm giving you this helpful hint. Okay? So, at war with Mexico? No, we're not going to war with Mexico. Don't let anybody scare you about that. But we are going to be involved in operations in Mexico. Could they go south? Yeah, anything can happen. They can go south. I remember when we went over and tried to help Vietnam. Remember when we tried to go help Afghanistan? Okay. So we will see what we will see, right? Okay, stock up on your guacamole and salsa. And for our friends in Mexico, I hope everything goes well. I know we have friends who travel back. They're from Mexico. They travel back and forth frequently to visit family, and I don't want to. And I just talked to a friend of mine yesterday who just got back from Cabo, and we don't want a destabilized Mexico. We want a stabilized Mexico that will be a good partner and a good neighbor to us. Okay. One last time, remember if you haven't read them, get this. Go to stonemont.us. Get the series. They have a special on the entire series. You will learn more if you're serious about, or if you just want a great story. I'll tell you, you'll get lost in the story. You'll almost forget that you're learning stuff. But you will learn more from this than you can imagine. And then I say the links down below. Um, so remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And to all my amigos, hablo contigo mañana.